for me. Is that doing its thing? I don't know. There we are. All right. Hello, everybody. How's it going? It's Monday. Approaching the end of summer here. Labor Day weekend next weekend. It is a hot one here in Bainbridge Island, Washington. It's like 90-something degrees outside. And inside, it's only 82. So, we're all right. I'm still a little warm. I think this is... Did Lo B get me this shirt? I think she may have. I can't remember. Someone did. Someone sent me this one. I like this one. It's a good shirt. So, it looks like the shorts have gotten a very favorable court in New Orleans to review the SEC rules that would require them to report their short positions, report what they borrowed, make lenders forced to report what shares that they're lending out. And they're trying to get rid of all of it, saying that it's hurts their competitive advantage, blah, blah, blah. It's a bunch of bullshit to basically keep ruining retail investors and destroying public companies. So I'm not sure what we can do. Maybe perhaps we can get some friends of the court briefs sent into the New Orleans court, and perhaps implore them to not gut these rules, and in fact double down, if as it were. The fact that if you hold a position long, you have to report it because, insiders and whatnot, it makes sense. But if you short a company, we should also know who is actively trying to destroy that company or betting against it as well. So, yeah. So that's my opinion on that. I've linked the article down below from Bloomberg. I think it's it goes around their paywall. Hey, Kat, what's up? I recommend reading it and internalizing it, and then loathing the short sellers even more. Other news, Donald Trump today said he's going to be sending all sorts of military to other cities around the country, and that he wants to be a dictator, but that he's not a dictator. But, it makes it a lot easier if he is. So yeah, screw that guy. BBBY hype date still on Friday. That's when Beyond becomes BBBY. We don't know what else that means for anything. JP Morgan, who wouldn't let Ryan Cohen buy Bed Bath & Beyond, and likely had to pay a fortune to settle the case against the board of Bed Bath & Beyond, because it kind of suggested that they did some RICO violations, and if that was the case, they had to pay 3 times the amount of the damages. So there may be billions of dollars in the BBBY accounts as a result of that. But they also apparently own a cajillion dollars in bonds for BBBY that they purchased after bankruptcy. Right? What do you think about that? What do you think about that, little guy? So we got all that going on, and we hang out, and we pet the cat, and we twiddle our thumbs, and we stroke our chins, and we hope that someday something awesome happens. Until then, one of these... Wait.
Houston, we have a problem.
Okay. Turn it off. All right. To the top. Oh, with a super chat from Bill Coyne. Bill Coyne. Still down here rowing the ship, but I finally got a top row seat. Benefits. Ooh. Nice. Bong. 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 You can now go see a doctor. Bong. Bong. Such is life. Lone Wolf was first, and first to give thumbs up. James Perigo second. Case Jabin third. James Perigo second, thumbs up. Man, House Sway. I'm not sure what that means. Fred Jones, fifth, and I just want to say it's happening. Kevin, Houston, happy birthday. DK Butterfly announcement or fantasy football, which one comes first? Well, a fantasy football draft, I believe, is Friday evening. So it might be a tie, if we're lucky. If not, I mean, I'd put my money on fantasy football coming first in reality. I wouldn't mind a tie if that's the case. But, yeah. Brandon Wells, up BBBY, up UBC. I got no news on either. Sterler, Houston. Polestar, yo. Polestar, so who's going to be the first to go to jail for burning a flag? Oh, yeah, Trump wants to put people in jail for a year for burning the flag, despite the fact that there's numerous court cases. The minute they make burning the flag against the law, I will burn the flag. That is something I decided when I was in middle school. That the minute they made burning the flag legal, I was going to burn the flag. So if Trump signs that, I volunteer. I volunteer to be the first to go to jail for burning a flag. Polestar. Supreme Leader God King Trump is going to be investing in other companies. Wait until they throw billions at DJT. Yeah. I like this whole controlling the means of production to own the libs thing that's going on. There's socialism where the workers own the companies, right? There's communism where the government owns the companies. And then there's Putinism where the leader gets a cut of everything. And I think that's what we're leaning towards. It's under the guise that it's the U.S. government owning 10% of Intel and making investments in those companies. But reality is Trump. It's Trump. It's all going to get fed to Trump. I'm all for a sovereign wealth fund for the United States of America. Trump wants a sovereign wealth fund because he sees it as his. There's a big difference between those two things. He wants to run it rather than have portfolio professionals run it for the benefit of everybody. So it's like you have the right choice and then you have Trump's choice, and they're not the same thing. They might use some of the same terms, but they are definitely not the same thing. So, yeah. And Rand's Radsy, throwing some stickers out there. Polestar sent you that Evergrande shit. Wonder if something will actually come of them being taken off the market finally. Probably not, like everything else. Well, I've not seen the updates from, if anyone has a Bloomberg terminal. Remember, some folks had access Bloomberg terminals about 2 years ago were showing the bond holdings in Evergrande for various big institutions and banks and whatnot. And there were banks like, what was it? It was Royal Bank of Canada had $14 billion. Bank of America had something ridiculous like $44 billion in those bonds. And they're all listed as unrealized losses because everything's still in bankruptcy and whatnot. You're not getting a dime. So unless they somehow dumped these things and took the loss on them, which then they have to realize, or they're just going to have to admit that they're not going to get a penny now and then realize. But they've been like floating in this obfuscation, this I don't know what to call it, sort of a facade of, oh no, everything's fine. We can still sit on our books as if it's fine. It's not. That money's gone. You're never getting it back. It's gone. Poof. So, yeah, my guess is it will hurt some big banks really bad. And Pulsar, Tesla just keeps climbing on nothing. Even after giving Elmo 29 mother effing billion, he's been pretty out of the spotlight lately. Yeah, and they just fired like a whole bunch of H-1B visa workers because you can fire them without having to notify the federal government that you're planning massive layoffs. There's a little loophole there. So basically fired like almost all the H-1B people at Tesla. Now remember, the head of batteries quit. The head of robotics quit. The head of their charging stations quit. The chief engineer, I believe, quit. They all know the writing on the wall and where that company's heading. People do not buy Teslas anymore. Tesla sales have plummeted. The fact that Tesla sales have plummeted means they aren't going to be able to sell carbon credits like they like. Plus, Trump's trying to get rid of carbon credits. So their entire gravy train is over. So, bye-bye. And their experiment in Texas and Austin for driverless taxis is not going very well, as the taxis keep trying to kill people and the driver has to take over. So, yeah, there's that. And Polestar. Oh, if something did happen with T0 for DK Butterfly, not all countries have access. T0, Canada's unable to access. So what would happen then? Unsupported countries are just screwed? I don't know. I don't have a clue. It took them a while to get every state on board. I don't know. Most countries have, like, their brokerages have an entity inside of the United States who purchases stocks and then assigns them to the brokerage overseas or the account overseas. So you don't actually have it in your brokerage account. The brokerage account has a brokerage account. So perhaps it would work that way. I don't know. You, fat boy, do you know? Or are you just gonna be a little lounge lizard? Is that what you are, little lounge lizard? Man, lone wolf, I fly the U.S. flag upside down and half staff and in tatters. Come and get me. Get Katie in first monkey butt's heart. You hear that, buddy? She's out like a log right now. Just Bougie, New York. Rumors around that Trump has congestive heart failure and won't make it till Christmas. I'm loading up on DJT 2027 puts, not financial advice. He's got the cankles, right? One of the things to look at is look for if the earlobes start to get really puffy. I remember my mom was a nurse, right? I remember watching some show with John Ritter in it. And my mom said, look at his ears. That man's going to die. And like a couple weeks later, he was dead from a massive heart attack. There's something about when your ears get super duper duper like puffed up in the lobes that is hard. Oh, I remember what it is. Puffy ears, heart failure. Okay, yeah, puffy ears can be a sign of heart failure and a larger pattern of fluid retention or edema. When the heart fails to pump blood effectively, fluids can build in tissues throughout the body, including the face. Yeah. So my mom called that one. She was like, "That man needs to see a doctor." And yeah, it was, what was that show? 8 Rules for Dating My Daughter or something like that. It was on that show. She was like, "That's not good." We always joke that he's a long lost relative because that's my mom's maiden name. But where are we? Oh, Lisa Sa. Alcatraz shut down for environmental damage to Everglades. No mention of human rights violations. I thought there also was a court ruling that told them to shut down due to human rights violations last week. Basically saying the state does not have authority to do anything with these people. That none of the permits were followed and that basically they were torturing them. Making good money at it. If you're a guard at that alligator Alcatraz, you're making $25,000 a month. So that's how much your soul is worth, I guess. Meanwhile, those folks weren't getting water, access to bathroom, dry clothes, air conditioning, food, being chained outside and forced to get eaten by mosquitoes naked all night long, things like that. Just wonderful, wonderful Nazi type things that we were doing over there. And at least I saw that all that swelling and bruising in Trump's hand that they failed to cover with makeup, supposedly due to IV drips of various drugs. That or lots of blood work. You know, there's lots of folks out there trying to be like, oh, that's just normal for an old person. Normal for an old person who's dying. My dad's 89. He gets blood work done maybe once a year, right? And they can put different holes in him because he's not so chunky they can't find a vein. Whereas on Trump's hand, it's the only place they can see a vein because he's too swollen everywhere else they can't hit it. So that's why they put it in there again and again and again and again and again and again because there's nowhere else they can access without just like, you know, poking holes through muscle and everything else. So that's where he is. Ford's Easy 9. Can you try to talk at length on how to get out of the country if we do in fact get paid? Well, there's lots of YouTube videos and websites out there. I'd say the first thing to do is take $10,000 or so and put it towards offshoring your wealth. So you're going to want to purchase, you know, get a lawyer who specializes in creating offshore LLCs, probably one that has offices in the Caymans or Belize or whatever. And you're going to pay them probably $2,000 to $4,000 to set up an LLC for you under your name and everything else. That takes like a day. Done. You've got, you know, offshore LLC.org, whatever you got going on there. And once you do that, it takes another week to 21 days to get approved for your LLC to have a checking account in, say, the Caymans. Once you have that checking account in the Caymans, you can send whatever money you want over to that account. You can also, now that you have a checking account in the Caymans and you've got an LLC, you can set up a brokerage account in the Caymans. And you can transfer everything in your brokerage account to that account because they got accepted. So you just transfer it all over there. You may want to talk to that lawyer about whatever taxes you may owe, blah, blah, blah. If this BBBY thing happens the way we think it does, it's likely to be tax-free unless you sell everything. So you may be able to transfer everything from that account to the Cayman account and kind of avoid those immediate tax penalties. Now, granted, you are very likely breaking the law in some way when you're doing this. But we're just going to ignore that part for now and just assume you want to get your money the hell out of the United States because, you know, troops are on the streets, things are getting bad, and you're like, I want to get myself and my family out of here. Peace. So you send that over there, and once it's overseas, they can't touch it. They can touch you for now until you get out overseas, right? And at that point, you can take money from that. You can purchase passports from other countries. So you can go, say, to like Aruba or Bermuda or Barbados or Dutch Antilles or the Caymans or whatever. And for a couple $100,000, you can literally buy citizenship. You can buy a passport in one of those countries. They're not particularly strong passports. If you do one that's attached to like the EU or Great Britain, they can be kind of strong. So like a Cayman passport can be kind of strong. British Virgin Islands, Dutch Antilles, because they're attached to EU nations. So that can kind of get you perhaps into like the Shenzhen without having to worry about a golden visa for some of those places. Or you can go to like Portugal or Spain or Italy and you just buy enough property or put enough money into an account. You can do that. You can also go Southeast Asia, Australia, wherever. You can easily, if you got enough money, do Monaco. Like the cheapest place you can get in Monaco is probably a 500 square foot one bedroom from like $2 million. But you can get into Monaco. You can look at the UAE, right? It's be hot as shit most of the year. You can become one of these like nomads, as it were. So, first things first, find that lawyer. They find the one that's an expert in it, and they'll tell you all the little ways. They've got tax attorneys, they've got all that stuff, and it's going to it's going to cost you money and time, but they can usually do it fairly quickly. So that's kind of what you're looking at. I personally, any cash I have, I would want to get it into a more stable currency like euros or Swiss francs or something immediately, because right now, like the US dollar has lost 8 or 9 or 10% just since April. So that's a lot of inflation going on that isn't happening with those other currencies. So it wouldn't be such a bad idea to get that cash out of US dollars into something else, because you will hold on to that wealth longer. What do you think, little fat boy? Yeah. And you're going to want to get pet visas for your pets. So you make sure you have all their shots recorded, apply for a pet passport, and then you can go to most countries as long as you have that passport, show they've had these shots within this amount of time, etc. So you got to think about that too. And get passports for your whole family right now. If you didn't do it before January 20th, seriously, just try to get it done now. The sooner the better, because they're going to make it harder and harder and harder and harder for you to be able to get out of the country and keep you here, unless they're going to throw you into camp at this point. So sooner you do it, the better it is. So get that done. Yeah. EB1252 Super Chats. Damn it, I'm feeling my ears right now. I think I'm good. Okay. Yeah. Pay attention to that. Like if you do, if you are in your 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, and you feel your earlobes and they don't feel like your old earlobes, go see your doctor. You might be having edema. So it's a good thing to do. Good little thing to notice. some people just get old and their ears just get gigantic. I remember watching, what was that movie, Kitty, with Catherine Zeta-Jones and Sean Entrapment. Catherine Zeta-Jones and Sean Connery. Sean Connery's like 900 years old. Catherine Zeta-Jones is like 20-year-old in her prime, and they're lovers, of course. And there's this scene where they're like laying on a bed facing each other, and there's Catherine Zeta-Jones, like perfect sculpted little face, and then there's Sean Connery, and his ear is like 85% of the entire screen. Watch that movie and be like, whoa, that's a lot of ear. Shit on my lap. All right. I lost my spot. Oh, there we go. Oats with Goats. Finally made it to a live again. Happy birthday, Sin. Have you ever been bike touring on my list of things to do when we finally get paid? I've done Washington up through the Olympic Peninsula, Vancouver Island, San Juan's, back down. I've done the coast of Oregon twice, and I've done from Seattle all the way to San Diego. That was many, many years ago when I was like still middle school and high school. Those are the last times I did really big bike tours. My roommates during COVID, they did from Spain, Italy, shit, but all the way up into Norway to like almost the Arctic Circle in Norway during COVID. So they got some experience doing that. I wouldn't mind. I have a really, really, really nice road bike that I don't touch because it's so different biking on the road these days than when I was a kid, because everyone is staring at their fucking phones or the screen on their car. I've been hit by a car once. That sucked. I've been almost hit several times more on a bike, and I just don't trust other people. So when I do bike, it's pretty much just on the mountain bike in the forest because I don't have to worry about cars. Cars are terrifying, and people on their cell phones are even more scary. So yeah, bike tours are fun though. It's a lot of fun. You get in great shape. Oh my goodness, you'll be a lean, mean fighting machine. Legs of steel. Corporal Walnut, Houston, Houston GPT. What's a cool place more people should visit, not North America? I mean, I've been to cool places, but there's a lot of places I haven't been to that I really want to. So, like, I think everybody should just do a tour of Europe. I don't care what ethnicity you are, nationality. Tour Europe and kind of see what's modern, what gets preserved, how their societies run, taste the food. Like, each country has their own little pockets and cultures, and some countries have multiple inside of them. And like, you kind of get to see how the other half lived. I do think, going to like the coast of the Mediterranean and experiencing one thing, and then going up into like the mountains and the Alps, and you're like, whoa, it's a completely different environment, is really neat. Seeing like going to a major city somewhere and then it not being full of like 20,000 homeless people is also like eye-opening. Like, it doesn't smell like poo and pee everywhere. It's amazing. Wow, universal healthcare. I'm a big fan of deserts. There's a lot of deserts I want to visit. I've only really been to deserts in the U.S. and a little bit in North Africa. There's so many cool things I want to see. Slot canyons and old mountains and dunes and whatnot. My experiences in Asia are limited. I lived in Okinawa when I was a kid. I've been to Taiwan. Taiwan's like way different now than when I was a kid. When it was a lot of like open sewers and stuff when I was a kid, and then they built all sorts of modern infrastructure, and then that giant earthquake in '99 forced them to build even more. And I hear it's like completely different now than it was 36 years ago when I was there. 35 years ago, 1990, yeah, 35 years ago. I don't know. There's a lot I want to see. I really want to go to the Seychelles. I really want to go to Socotra. I really want to do the Dalmatian coast. I want to 4x4 across the Sahara, across the Gobi. I want to go see Nazca lions. I want to, go to the glaciers in Patagonia. I want to you know, smell a beach full of penguin shit. There's a lot of things I want to do. I want to jump off cliffs and go surfing and ski southern hemisphere, northern hemisphere, go from the top of a mountain onto a bicycle, onto a surfboard. Just I want to do it all. I want to see what we can do. So it's just go places, man. If you got the funds to do it, just go, bro. Just go. Yeah. There's a lot of cool places you can go that don't have large tourism. You know, like Namibia or Mauritania or I don't know, Bhutan. Like there's places all over the place you can go and you can be sort of not among a whole bunch of tourists and get sort of a real taste of what that culture and people and landscape is like without like Instagram people everywhere. You know, I've been to Paris a whole bunch, and when I first started going to Paris, there was no social media. None. Did not exist. And then I went in like 2010, like Facebook was a thing, and Instagram was just starting to be a thing. And when I was there most recently in 2022, it was just butts everywhere. Everyone was trying to make a viral video. There were models and thongs getting their picture taken next to like the Eiffel Tower in the background. This is January, like all over the place. There were so many butts, and like I appreciate a butt. I can't say I'm complaining about that, but it really does kind of take away from any experience you may have, like trying to experience the culture or the people. If it's just this like Instagram catered buttville. I mean, if it's going to be as fake as possible catering to folks, I may as well see a bunch of butts in the process, I guess. So there's that. And there's also like places that you know, to get an authentic experience, you probably have to go in the winter or during shoulder seasons. You know, if you go to the Amalfi Coast in Italy in July or August, it is going to be so chock full of tourists, you won't even see or meet a local the entire time. Right? But if you go in October, well, then you don't get to enjoy the warm water and the weather's not as good and whatnot, but you may have a more authentic local experience if that's the case. So, like, you know, you may have to go off the beaten path and find places that are not quite the Amalfi Coast, but are still pretty neat and quiet and haven't been overrun by the Instagram people yet. So, yeah, I mean, a lot of us really missed the boat by not being rich in the late 90s, early 2000s, before the social media thing, and when stuff was really, really cheap. When you go to Prague and for 50 cents get a dinner and a beer and a whole night of entertainment. I think I told you about a classmate of mine. When I was at Seattle Central going to school, there's a kid I went to school with who got a year scholarship to go to school in Prague. And it's like 2000, maybe 2001, 2002, somewhere in there. And so he gets to go to Prague for an entire year, but his scholarship money is like US, it's like $30,000 US to go to a school that does not cost, it costs a couple $100 for an entire year. And he took that cash and he bought a brand new condo, like right in the heart of downtown Prague for like $10,000. And now that place is worth like $850,000 or something today. And I think I talked a couple years ago, he still had it because it was worth so much. And he was like, why would I sell this thing? I think those days have passed by. That sort of desperation for hard currency in former Soviet bloc countries, that's a little over now. You still can probably get deals in all those places, but it's nothing like what it was. You know, I have a nickel, I buy my own hotel. Yeah, those days are over. So, yeah. Okay. Katie Houston. Been buying GME and IEP on the regular for a while now. Feels good to get ICANN shares this cheap. Polestar. The AMC GME Unity account is really some deranged shit. Reported them, but also Twitter was like, nah, they're good. I know, I kept getting that. So I think if we just report, they finally go, oh, whatever. There must be something wrong, and delete them. And Kikadian, thinking of selling covered calls of IEP, any good strategies you know of? Keep it at least $1 out of the money and no more than a week away. You don't want to give them any opportunity to have a big old jump and then you're out. So you want to sell, if it's at $8.50, you sell calls at $9.50 and go from there. Right? Seems like that should work. That should work, right, buddy? Right, buddy? That's right, you little fat guy. Yeah. And it looks like it's going to pop off. You want to buy those calls back, unless you're okay with like losing all your shares and then having to buy back in, and then worry about the taxes and all that stuff. Polestar. Oh, and COVID vaccines are banned. Well, man, they're really throwing everything out there to make people forget about Epstein. Almost zero coverage on it anymore. Yeah, they're wanting to ban COVID vaccines for the whole of the United States population, which is just, they're trying to kill you, man. They're trying to kill you. They want you dead, injured, or poor, or all the above, if they can. They want you dead. Like, yesterday, the United States reported its first case of screwworm in cattle. Back in July, the United States authorized the import of cattle from southern Mexico where screwworm had been found into the United States. And now we've got screwworm, 5-6 weeks later. They want you dead. They want you starving. They want your industries wiped out. If you're a cattle grower in the United States and you voted for Trump, fuck you, you deserve this. That's basically what we're getting down to. You were told he was dangerous, and he is. And now you're going to have a whole bunch of worm-infested cows that you can't sell to anyone because you have no international market anymore. And you're going to go bankrupt. And our prairies are going to return to their natural state without these like dehydrated cows wandering all over the place. And then what? You're out of job. Food prices are crazy high. You'll be forced to import it with paying those tariffs for everything. And that's what you get. Thank you so much for going against your own interests at all times. And now we get to have screwworms. And you know what's cool about screwworms is that you can get them too. The little fly lands on you and it lays a larva, and the larva just fucking eats away at you until it gestates just fine and flies away out of the hole in your body it made. So, yay! Woo! Isn't that awesome? It's like a botfly. Except botflies don't like burrow their way in and eat as much muscle as they possibly can. They sort of gestate in there and it's painful. But hooray! Right? You looking forward to some screwworms, kitty? I'm sure that you being a little mammal outside running around, you'll get your fair share. Monkey will get hers. And we'll just get to live with that. And like the weird mange that will form and all that fun stuff. Because we have a fucking government that fucking sucks. And they're trying to kill us all. Yay! All right. Woohoo! Okay. MacroTurf. I love watching your stuff, Houston, but I've got to say it's easy enough speculating possibilities within the framework of legal system. I just don't really think we live in the same reality they do. Oh no, we don't. We're in a fantasy land, that's for sure. 100%. I mean, we need an escape, right? Because reality sucks so much. So, Chris Taylor. Hi, and happy Monday. Hello. Adam Navy. Physics help. What causes magnetic north to be different from true north? Why does it move? What is geomagnetic north? What matters for seeing northern lights? What's the best place to see lights? Okay. Why is magnetic north not true north? We don't know. Not a clue. It just mostly aligns with it, and then every 60,000 years it goes whoop and flips. We don't know why. It just does. We have no clue. Okay. So what is geomagnetic north? Geomagnetic north is where the magnetic pole is aligned. So you have positive and you got negative down in the South Pole. And the flow lines of the magnetic field connect between those 2 points. Like a magnet. Earth is a giant magnet is what it comes down to. What matters when seeing northern lights? What matters when seeing northern lights is no clouds, no light pollution or little light pollution, and big old bursts of charged particles from the sun. That's what happens when you see the northern lights. These charged particles hit the magnetic fields, get heated up in the atmosphere, and they glow. And you'll see different colors depending on where the particles are heated up. So like blue is your nitrogen. I believe red is oxygen and red is hydrogen and green is oxygen. Remember correctly? Maybe I've switched some of those around. It's been a while since I studied that stuff. But so you get red, greens, and blues, and if they mix, you can get like purple and whatnot. But for the most part, those three colors are depending on what particles are getting excited as they come into the atmosphere. And what was the last one? What best place to see it? North or south, because you got Aurora Australis in the south, so southern lights. So right now, you get longer night times in the south. So if you are in South Island, New Zealand, Antarctica, you're gonna have a better chance of seeing the southern lights. In the north, this time of year, you want to be pretty far north unless you have a really big solar event like you did last year, where it came down really far south. So you want to be Canada, Alaska, Norway, Scotland, Iceland, Russia, places like that. And Dave thinks you're the best. Well, thank you. The Leg Guy. Houston, percentage-wise, how confident are you in BBBY shareholders will get equity? Also, mention one thing that has happened in all the BBBY drama that led to this decision. I mean, I got a couple of things that led to that decision. I'm pretty confident. Something's going to come out of this. At the very least, some sort of cash component will come our way, because I think there's more money in the DK Butterfly than there are liabilities, which means cash has to come our way. The documents, the legal fees, I think paint a pretty clear picture of what they're trying to do. Plus there's some, statements in court about credit bids and nulls and things like that. Cool. They spent more money on securing the nulls and getting that set up than they made off of selling the IP. That tells me that there's an ulterior plan. Also, the fact there's that IRS document that has the same name as DK Butterfly, at least the 2023-0930 part, that outlines exactly a butterfly merger between a bankrupt retailer and some acquiring company, and mixtures with third parties and shell corporations and everything to preserve the nulls, get a reverse merger, issue shares and equity to folks, and that is pretty good. Plus, got the icing on the cake. There is still that NDA that I only saw the cover sheet, so I have no idea what actually is inside the NDA. And that individual is still very active. I'm not sure how long the NDA lasts for. I'm not sure what it outlines and says he can and can't say. It is a he. Can and can't say. But they still seem extremely confident. And so those things right there are enough for me to go, all right, that was a worthy $3,000 investment. I have a feeling I'm going to get more back than what I put in someday. I hope it's not like $10,000. That would be a lot of time spent for not that big. I hope it's more life-changing level of money, so that I can get that attorney who allows me to offshore everything. And right, but yeah. Seagill, my SVIX calls popped last Friday, but UVXY implied volatility is cheap and max pain is increasing months out. Seems the bubble is getting a bit frothy. Yeah. The stock market is more than 200% the entire GDP, while the GDP is basically collapsing. We aren't exporting things. We aren't importing things. No one wants our bonds. Real estate is worth shit. Interest rates are too high. We're all going to get diseased. We got bird flu still mutating out there, ready to just ravage us. We don't have the infrastructure to do anything about it. We've got, I don't know, we may have made a whole bunch of enemies out of our friends, and they may start targeting us or at the very least ignoring us entirely. Yeah, the price to earnings is the biggest bubble in history, bigger than the .com bubble. So probably have a dozen Enrons going on right now. Banks are shady as fuck. Dollar's worthless. Inflation's coming. Yeah, it's and we don't have anyone in place who can fix it when it does break. So what are we gonna do, fat boy? What are we gonna do? We're all gonna eat cat food. We're gonna have your diet plan. Yeah, well maybe I can get fat and happy on cat food like you have. Oh yeah. Okay. Um Kikadian, also Houston, happy birthday. I'm having too much fun telling my boomer parents that GME Labubued the Pokemon cards. It's even better when I hear them say that to other boomers. Labubued? Labubued? I don't even know what that means, dude. Is this a Pokemon thing? I'm not a Pokemon person, so I have no idea what any of that means. They couldn't understand Power Packs until I explained it being Labubued. As being Labubued. I don't know what Labubued. Labubued? Labubu. Labubu. Monsters Blind Box. Labubu. It's a line of collectible plush toys created by Hong Kong illustrator Kissing Lung. I am out of it. Labubu plush toy that is causing a frenzy. Okay. I don't have kids, so all these fads miss me every single time they happen. Do you explain to them as like a slot machine? That's basically what it is. Is that you put in your money, pull the slot, and it goes la la la, bing, bing, bing. Are they winners? Oh, do it again. Put your $25 in. La, 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 bing, bing, bing. Hey, there's a winner! Yay! And that's basically what it is, just with cards. It's like a pachinko parlor gambling, but with baseball cards, football cards, and Pokemon cards at this point. Dragon Ball Z, I don't know those things. Labubued? Labubued. Labubued. All right. I lost the chat just reset and I lost my spot. Okay. Did Microchip. Did Adam Davey. I did. There's a Labubued. Okay. Kikadian. You couldn't. Oh, did that one. And that is no Delulu. Dude, I don't know what the hell's going on. BBBY. I have the flu, worst one ever, or COVID. Either one sucks. Aren't they nearly the same thing by now? Well, I mean, the symptoms are often largely the same and hard to tell unless you get tested. So always have that home test with you. They have the ones now that will do both flu and COVID and will let you know which one it is. Or you can be like my poor friend. He went to London on vacation, came back, and woke up in the hospital because his partner found him unresponsive. It turns out he had COVID and RSV at the same time. And I'll be honest, RSV kicked the shit out of me in a way that COVID never did. Granted, when I got COVID, I was vaccinated, so it didn't really last long. It didn't do that much. In RSV, they wouldn't let me get vaccinated because I wasn't under 8 years old or over 65, which is some bullshit. And that thing laid me out for like 4 months. I don't remember going back to like January 2024 when I could barely do shows because I was coughing so hard. Like I just week after week wasn't doing a show because I couldn't. I just physically couldn't do it because I was coughing constantly. That was RSV. That thing was brutal. So get better. And Katie, what are the odds of a double intro today? Did I turn off the intro? Oh, look at you saving everyone from a double intro because I didn't turn off yesterday's intro. Ha! There we go. Ruined it for everyone, Kid Cadian. Peter Brand, Houston, why is your channel name all lowercase? Is it? I don't know. How do I go to my channel? Click. Nope. Go to YouTube. Go to... Oh, your channel. Yeah, it is all lowercase. I don't know. Because Houston Wade. Yeah, that's why. I don't know. Get me, man. Alex Bishop says hi everyone. Candy Dong says howdy. Snare Alert says calls on second intro. Haha. Not anymore, man. NickTube call options. The second intro. Intro. Mooly McCoolhead. If you get rich, are you gonna have a place with AC? Yes. Especially if I move to like the Mediterranean or something where it's just hot as balls half the year. Yes, I will have air conditioning. Andrew Stewart, Houston. I'm in Utah and drove past the Great Salt Lake, and holy shit, is it low? How bad is that? Oh, the Salt Lake is about to disappear entirely. We can look at it on the map here. Let's go. Where are you, Google Earth? Oh, there you are. Okay. Scene. Google Earth. Boom. Okay, we're going to leave this green, watery heaven and go down to the harsh realities of the Great Salt Lake. Okay, so you can see the Great Basin here, this whole thing. This was, during the last ice ages, this was Lake Bonneville that filled up this entire area. This is one giant lake and is now salt flats and whatnot. And the Great Salt Lake itself, well, it's shrinking because there's a couple of reasons. One, people are soaking up the water. They're putting on crops, doing all sorts of stuff, it's evaporating in the air. They're damming the rivers and whatnot. And this sucker just isn't getting the flow it once did. So it's drying up. And there's places like Antelope Island, which, you know, oftentimes are dry. It's not really an island anymore. It's more of an Antelope Peninsula at that. I wonder if we can get, here we go. Do I have a time? Oh, here we go. Here we go. That's 2014, 2020. Is this showing it dry? Okay, let's do a markation here. We got this little peninsula there. Let's look at that guy. So we'll go that guy back 20 years. Oh, that's 2002. That is not doing it. Okay. Oh, there we go. Hey, see, there you go. So this peninsula, that's water. So it is shrinking. See this? Antelope Island is an actual island 20 years ago. So in 20 years, it's lost a couple miles of shoreline. How big is that? Come on. There to there is 10 miles. That's 10 miles of shoreline that has appeared as a result of that. So if we close you, we go forward again to modern day, 2020, boom. Look at this. Okay, so that's an image from an airplane showing that part of the Salt Lake. That used to be lake and is now land. So, oops. This was all water and now it's land. So yeah, it's getting a lot smaller. I wonder if we can do. Let's go back to like 2000. Oh yeah, you can see this is 2000. Just how much more water is there versus today. So what's happening in the Great Salt Lake is basically what happened to the Aral Sea at a slower scale because the Soviets really fucked up the Aral Sea big time. But you can see here, there is no Aral Sea anymore. This is one of the largest lakes in the entire world, and it just isn't. There's like giant ships that were in here. Let's go back in time. Let's go back to 93. Boom, there's a lake. Ta-da! And it was getting small then. We go back even further, go back to the 80s. Boom, there's a giant lake right there. Huge, right? These places, like this should be lake, and it is now a wheat field of some kind. What about this? There we go. That should be water, and it's now camels hiding from the sun in the shadow of beach ships that were once on the Aral Sea. That is the reality, because the Russians basically stole all the water from all the rivers that flowed into this thing, and it's just gone. It's just gone. There's no mas, no more. Aral Sea, unlike the Caspian, which is really low, really far below sea level. Caspian's like 100 feet below sea level. It is basically the groundwater level, and Aral Sea was not. So there's no like flow from groundwater coming in here. That's it. It's gone. So this is what the Great Salt Lake. You think about Lake Bonneville at one time was this gigantic thing. It's now not. That's the earliest photograph we have is 1973. That's where we are, 1973 right there. So in 50 years, it's gone from that to that. We got a little bit right there, a little bit right there, and that's it. There you go. There's a little cairn next to what water is left. We have any water up here? We got some sort of fountain that I'm not sure what that's all about. But yeah. So there you go today. Yay! Hooray! Woohoo! Yippee! Okay. So. No double intro. Peter Brand. Got a cat. D. Vestra Omga. Hearing Cadet Bone Spur's health is not good. I'll be honest, I will have a party. I will. When it finally happens, I'll have a party. Maybe I'll have a party with you guys. I don't know, but there'll be something to celebrate, right? I mean, he's musing about how he's low man on the totem pole, not going to get into heaven anymore. So he's thinking about it. They're telling him like, you're not long for this world, dude. You think, you have the opportunity to do something as a legacy where you won't go down as like a monumental piece of shit. You have this window, 6 months, 8 months, whatever it might be, to like do the right thing for once and help people. But you're just not doing it. You're so entrenched in being a giant colossal monster that you're, buying plastic decorations, spray painting them gold and hanging them still on the walls around the White House. You're just doing weird shit. And I don't know, if I had billions of dollars and not much time left in the world, I don't know if I'd spend it be doing weird stuff and being a colossal piece of crap. I mean, anything. If I can understand, you don't have much time left. You're gonna plow through as many supermodels as you possibly can. I understand the drive behind that. I understand you don't have much time left. You're gonna try and see all the places the world never got to see. I understand that. I understand not having much time left and making amends with all the folks that you wronged and hurt and try to like become the person you probably should have always been. I understand that. What I don't understand is pondering on the fact that you're a bad person who does bad things, there's no chance of you going to heaven, and then doubling down on being that bad person. Like, is it just two fingers to the powers that be and be like, you never take me alive, coppers? I don't understand. I don't get it. I don't understand the motivation. Oh, Judas Mammy, veteran just arrested outside the White House for burning American flag. Someone beat me to it. I'm sure what they're going to charge him for is probably arson and public endangerment, and they're not going to charge him with the crime of defiling a flag. That's what my guess is going to be. So, yeah. Hazel Fallen, when he leaves and history reverses itself, he is going to sound like a total lunatic. Yes. Because he is. And there's still folks who just like cannot admit, like, me, I like my internet arguing. It's a way to pass the time. There's a guy, he says something to the effect of like, you can't constrain Trump because you're going to keep him continue to do a great job. And I was like, okay, tell me one great job he's done. And he's like, screw you, lib. Like, no, really, just tell me one great job he's done. I don't have to tell you shit. Like, because you can't tell me a single great thing that he's done. Tell me when has he done a great job? Just one thing that has made the average person's life better. Tell me. Screw you. You think you're so smart? I'm like, come on, just tell me, dude. It's not that hard. It's not that hard. I mean, it is. In the end, it's still funny. Oh, now I gotta go there. Yes. Verifying, blah, blah, blah. Okay. Click on that. Click there. Click. do. Oh, come on, dude. Latest. That's what I want. There we go. All right. So, all right, click there. Turn off that. Go to Chrome. Take Chrome, assign it to there. All right, so here we go. George Conway, former Republican, hates Donald Trump's guts. He says, notice how he does his best throughout to hide the back of his right hand from the full camera. We had all that makeup on his hand the other day, and some lady says, and he didn't even bother with his hair, and he's sitting all the time. Dude ain't well and has been for a while. And this guy says, and yet he's still out up front every day and doing a great job, unlike your comatose predecessor. And I said, he's never done a great job once in his presidency. Says the space scientist. Are you a professional victim too, Lefty? And I said, I have 5 STEM degrees and space studies is one of them. Go ahead. Name a great, oh, I can't spell. Name a great job he has done that has made the average American lives better. Find it hard to believe you got 5 STEM degrees. If nothing else, it shows that having a degree doesn't define how intelligent you are. So I'm not going to be your heel and do your work for you. Nothing will change your leftist and mainstream media following mind. If he cured cancer, it wouldn't be enough. I said, if you can't name a single great job he has done, just say so. He wouldn't cure cancer because he literally canceled all cancer research funding. You must have absolutely bombed the analogy section of the SATs. Typical leftist who's been so impressed with himself, your virtue signaling reeks of narcissism, but in reality, you just hide behind your alleged education because you're a weak-minded minion. Do your own homework, little man, and work on your critical thinking skills. I said, don't think I haven't noticed that you failed to mention one great job Trump has done. I don't think you know what virtue signaling means since you completely misused that phrase. Thank you for confirming that you totally did bomb the analogy section of the SATs. You're quite welcome. Now go to your whiny protest about animals should have pronouns, Karen. Good day. Yet again, missing the opportunity to name one time Trump did a great job. Pathetic. Get real, loser. Enough of your lying BS. You're not worth the time or effort. You can't fix stupid. Weird, because you're still spending time and effort here and not at all posting example of Trump doing a great job. It's because you know he has never done a great job and are too fucking embarrassed to admit it because your delicate little ego can't suffer it. I think I wrote on this one too. I always said another time you single time Trump didn't do a great job. Go buy another degree. How many chances have you had now to post a single example of Trump doing a great job and completely whiffed? It's not hard. I mean, you should be able to, over 4.5 years of a presidency, look at what's been accomplished by that president and find one thing that's made your life better. Just one little thing somewhere in there that made you personally, as average Joe's, life better. And it doesn't exist. It's not there. So then what? Like, he's the greatest president ever lived. Okay, name something great he's done. Fuck you. You think you're so smart? Like, people. Anywho, I gotta leave you. It's time for me to go. Show same time tomorrow. Have people high five. Scratch your cats in their belly, fuzzy little bellies, as long as they'll let you. Because eventually they'll attack you if you do it for too long, but they're so soft and fuzzy. How could you not? How could you not scratch those little guys? All right, everybody. Have a great day. And we're one day closer to the hype date. Yay! All right. We'll do old intro. Bam. Right, buddy? Yeah. Oh,